Alright, it's time to showcase these sub-weapons. Now, honestly, thanks to the orbs, all of the sub-weapons are actually pretty fun to play with, just to a certain extent. Though, in their basic versions, some of them just aren't great. Also, Leon casts Magic Missile, go! But yeah, of course, certain sub-weapons are better than the others, and some are decent but take way too many hearts to use, stuff like that. Knife is pretty good for targeting single enemies generally, though a few of them can target more than one enemy at a time. However, the knives are also pretty economical to make up for that, so even if they don't have a wide range of attack typically, they aren't too costly on hearts. Also, you can just make things explode. Bang, you're dead. Well, no, you're not. Does a lot of damage, but not a two-hit, unfortunately. And then there's Blade Serpent, which is just fucking this. Look at it go. If nothing else, that's pretty entertaining to watch, though it's also one of the pricier knife weapon combinations to use. So the axe is the one I used throughout most of the playthrough, and I don't regret it because I love all of the axe orb combinations, and even the axe on its own is really good. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't notice, also totally on purpose, definitely, the red orb is actually more or less just an upgraded version of like the sub-weapon's base attack. So it's just the normal sub-weapon, but slightly better and a little more costly, which might not sound great in most cases, except it does make a few of the sub-weapons like a little more viable than they would be without any orbs. Coincidentally, both of the final sub-weapons I'm going to choose are the ones I have in mind when saying that. Admittedly, though, when it comes to like the tracking sub-weapons, Spirit Ripper isn't my favorite. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and despite the fact that we get 3 options, it just still seems kinda weak overall. Axe Trap's great, though. And pretty economical as well, like, only 10 hearts to do that. If you play it right, then that's just a good damn move, and Rapid Slash is amazing. Like, look at that. 2 sets of that, and that skeleton died, and that was for 8 hearts. Holy Water. It's good for attacking things in front of you. It's got a pretty close range, but it is very damaging. Like, look at the kind of damage I was getting off the base form of it, and Roaring Flames, which is, again, pretty similar, but still does a lot more damage. Crossblazer, very specific pattern, but very powerful. Energy Gazer, not Geyser. Look, I looked at the thing's name, it's definitely Gazer. Flame Sparks. Oh yeah, this one's a little weird. Very damaging if it hits, has a lot of potential, especially with big targets, but a little awkward to use for smaller targets, and also I have no idea what it was trying to do there. Did it go after the lantern on purpose? Is that it? Oh well. Ah yes, Holy Symbol. An interesting one. It does a fair bit of damage, but it's kind of a setup attack. Terrible for that particular hallway, just because the enemies are so close. You're going to want to use it when enemies are far away from you. Energy Disc, Energy Wave. Yeah, this one's just a tracer attack. Not a bad one, though. Does a lot of damage. And not too pricey, either. And here's Crystal, one of my least favorite sub-weapons. Because, man, it is really hard to hit enemies with this thing. Like, even leaving it as a trap, it's not great, but its upgraded version with a red crystal is at least slightly better. Like I said, the red crystal makes it viable. Still not my favorite, but like, it can actually be used. This one's amazing though! Shatterplane just RPG battle screen transitions the enemies to death. It is so expensive, so it's not really useful in the long run, but god, that animation's amazing. Hail Crystal is also pretty good, because you just drop a train on him. So yeah, that one's pretty fun to use. Drainstone heals you, which is, I think, the only sub-weapon that does that. It's a little expensive and it doesn't heal you that much, but it's a unique effect at least, so I can respect it for that. Yoink. Ah yes, Satellite. Yep, this is just a Mega Man ability. It's Jewel Satellite before that existed. And Judgment. You rain lasers upon the enemies. Like Shatterplane, it's very expensive. Actually, Vanish Storm is a little better. I think it did a bit more damage, and it was a lot less expensive, so... yeah, that one's actually pretty good. Cross is a shield sub-weapon. Kind of bad at shielding you in its normal form, though. So, of course, Double Cross is just a way better version that actually has a bit more potential to protect you. Also seemed to stop the enemies more, but that could just be a coincidence. Ah yes, Michael's Sword. Also known as... fucking that. It's a pretty big attack, and for only 10 hearts, that's actually really good. So we're already getting a much more fun option than the first few shields. Divine Cross, which doesn't do that much damage, but I love just this. Hey, 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 here's a holy symbol. Hey, 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 look, it's a cross. Is this bothering you? Is this cross bothering you? I hope it's not bothering you. Is the cross bothering you? I hope it's not bothering you. Also, you can do this with it, which, man, I can't imagine that proccing all the time, but if you manage to get some enemies pinned down like that, that would be pretty good. Oh yeah, and this one, where you just shoot across at the enemies. I like the cross more than I like the crystal because its later versions are just goofy. Though to be fair, it is hard to beat Shatterplane. Grand Cross is pretty much like its appearance in the rest of the series. Agnia, you just sort of mind blast them with a cross. Kinda boring and kind of expensive, so if there's another effect, maybe it's useful, but otherwise, I don't get it. And Six Saints, in which you summon crosses that just shoot lasers. So, those are the sub-weapons of Castlevania Lament of Innocence, and that's it for this bonus episode. See you in Street Fighter V, everyone!